Good morning. Yesterday we were talking about trusting environments because the environment in which you communicate will also have an impact on how the communication is received. And I alluded to the fact that a dental treatment room, what we refer to as an operatory, is not an ideal place to communicate to any human being other than a dentist or dental assistant. And even then, might not be the right place either. We'll talk about that perhaps down the road. But how do you get that trust? Well, we talked about Cialdini's principle of likability. People like themselves. They like people that they like. I think, well, I won't get into politics. Although I have to tell you, it's difficult in business not to get into politics in some manner, shape, or form, because the politics actually does shape the economic environment, and to a certain extent the social and cultural environment in which we operate, and that is going to be very different in different places. It's going to be different in New York, where I practiced. It's going to be different in Portland. It's going to be different in Dallas. It'll be different in Austin. Get my drift? You have to understand the environment in which you are communicating. And politics does, to a certain extent, play into that, and it's something that you need to take into consideration. And it can be used towards your advantage. Whatever your political bent, you can use politics in your communication, depending who your smallest viable audience is. So if your smallest viable audience identifies themselves as some political entity, you might want to embrace the tenets of that political party in your communication, because people will identify with you. Now, you're saying, well, what the heck does that have to do with dentistry? Well, it has a lot to do with dentistry, because the kind of communication that we're talking about is communication that builds trust. And the more you are like the people you are communicating with, the quicker and better they will trust you. It's just the way it is. It's human principle. Like I said, our reptilian brain is built for recognizing other as danger. If it's not like me, I need to be wary. Try to overcome that. We try to overcome that. We're not doing a great job of it, but we try to overcome that with our human brain. We rationalize away the fear. We rationalize away the difference. Again, we want to get a little political about this. I don't think you can legislate it, but you can rationalize it away. If I look different than you, you're going to be a little wary of me in a way that you can't even understand, because it's in your reptilian brain. It's hard programmed there. Different, watch out. So in your communication, you want to be as same as like as possible. So the more you know about your smallest viable audience, those patients you're talking to, or those patients, potential patients, right? They're not patients until they come into your office and pay you money. But if you're marketing for new patients, those potential patients, what do they believe? Where do they go? What are their likes and dislikes? Everybody talks about needs, and it's fine to market for needs. But if it's a choice between someone who can fulfill my need, who is like me, or who I think I will like, and someone who can fulfill my needs because it's cheaper, your reptilian brain will try to justify why the person who you might like, who is like you, but who might be expensive, is worthwhile. But if you don't do that, and you make price the only differentiating factor, guess what? People are going to take the lowest price. Most people. Studies show that up to 15% of the population will automatically take the highest price because they think it's better. But that's a different story. You're not, unless you're going for that 15%. That's okay too. The idea in your communication is to build personality. Build personality that people will recognize, identify with, and will draw them to you. We call that magnetic marketing, and we'll talk about that tomorrow.